Hello, welcome to Magnificent Mogul, the brand that promotes entrepreneurs. And today I'm so excited. I have with me Mr. Clifton McCurry, who is a film writer and also a film producer, but I also have a special guest. I'm so happy to have her here, Miss Irma P. Hall. We had a little bit of trouble getting her here because she just received a few Lifetime Achievements Awards, so I'm so happy to have her here. Thank you all for being here. Are you ready to get started?
Hey, good to go.
So Clifton, as a film writer and a film producer, I'm really interested in this subject matter. That's why I'm so happy to have you here as a part of Magnificent Mogul. So can you just take a step back? I want to know, how did Clifton McCurry become involved in film?
Actually, my first involvement in film was I was selected to be in a big and tall commercial, and we actually had to go down to the studio to try to close on. And when I saw all the movement and behind the scenes and the way the cameras and the producers conducted themselves on producing the show, I was hooked. I was totally hooked.
Okay.
And so a week after that, I went and signed myself up to take an acting class here in Dallas, accompanied by the name of the Actors Place. I don't think they're no longer in business though, but that's where I got my first opportunity to write a script, to learn acting behind the scenes.
Got you. Okay.
And so once I got that and I got into my first film, man, I had what they call the acting bug.
Oh, you had the bug.
I had the bug.
Keep on going.
Yes, and then that's when I started writing my own stories and had no money to do anything. I just had an idea, and I met some friends at the Art Institute of Dallas.
Okay.
One basically just graduated. He was familiar in production, camera, lighting, and I was like, okay, I got a script. You have a camera. You have the production.
Let's make it happen.
Let's make it happen. And so we hooked up with a few more people that knew grips and knew other parts of making a film.
Okay.
And all of us with no money took my script and put it together, shot it low budget, and ended up getting a little small international deal with it.
Cool.
So
I want to ask Miss Hall the same question, because Miss Hall, I mean, you're a legend, and let me tell you, every time I look at you on the screen, you do some fantastic acting. I'm part of that generation that I was looking at you when you were in Soul Food, and, Beloved, Midnight in the Garden of Eden. So, those films just really stand out to me. And I know you're also a part of Clifton's project, Lady Luck. But I want to take it a step back. And, same question for you. What made you interested in the whole film and acting business?
Well, mine was like accident. I just said, God just said, go do this.
Yeah.
I wasn't thinking about it. I was working, I was teaching school.
Okay.
I've been teaching school since, for 10 years then.
Okay.
Yeah, since 1962. And I went to volunteer my services to help the Dallas Express newspaper, which was the oldest black newspaper in Dallas at the time.
Got you.
And because they were understaffed, they only had 3 people.
Yeah.
And I had always been in love with the black press.
Got you.
Since the Chicago Defender. So
Okay.
I grew up in Chicago. So there was a woman who used to buy ads all the time named Peggy Taylor.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew that she was an agent. I didn't know exactly really what she did, but she would tell me all the time I should be doing prints.
Yeah.
And I just smiled and go on because I had no idea what she was talking about. But she called me and told me that Raymond St. Jacques was coming to Dallas to look at it as a possible location for a black film he wanted to do here, and that I should interview him. And Bill McGee was having a special thing for him at his house, and I went to that, and I did interview him and his entourage, and I wrote it up. Someone sent him a copy,
Okay.
And he called me and asked me if I would work as interim publicist for his film until his regular publicist could get free.
Got you.
And
Okay.
I said, sure, if you tell me what a publicist does.
Right.
And he said, well, actually, it's just advertise the film. You know, you
Right.
told me I'm going to be meeting the stars as they came in and this, that, and the other. And I thought, wow, this is great. I get to learn new things. And in addition to having press pass and learned about VIP rooms.
Right, right.
In the airports and this, that, and the other. A lot of things. I took my daughter with me for learning experience. So, while I was working for Raymond as a publicist for his film, I also belonged to a group called Advancing Artists and Writers because
Gotcha.
I paint and I write.
Okay.
I write poetry and I paint and I do a lot of artistic things like that. So I told him we had just gotten a grant to work with teenagers
Mm-hmm.
at the mall, Langston Key Shopping Center Mall.
Okay.
And he said, "Oh, great!" He said, "Then that's where I'll have my major auditions."
Got
And
you.
that'll-
Okay. Okay.
You know, that will draw attention. We didn't know. We didn't know people need to be quiet so they can look over the script.
So you
and
kinda
things.
stumbled
We were
into it.
entertaining
Yeah,
them.
yeah, okay.
And
Okay.
yeah, so I mean, the drummers were drumming, the dancers were dancing, we
Right.
had painting showing everywhere, and then poetry readings. And I was doing some of my poetry, and he came out and he heard me,
Yeah.
and he asked me to read for a part in the film. And yeah, I just thought he was joking. But about a week later, he said, "I told you there's a part that has not been cast. I want you to read for it, Georgia Brown."
Right. Okay.
And I said, "I don't know anything about acting. I've only been in school plays like all other little children, this, that, and the other. I don't know." So I read it, and they said, "Whoa, she reads so well." I said, "I teach school."
Well, it
Of
was
course
meant
I
to
can
be.
read.
Well, it sounds like
Yeah.
it was meant to be.
Right, of course I can read.
Yeah, because look at where we are now. So, you're receiving Lifetime Achievement Awards.
Well, it
for
was
your
funny
acting.
because I knew nothing.
Yeah.
Everything I know about acting on stage and on film, I have learned on stage and on film.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, the reason why I like you explaining the story that way is because it's teaching the viewers who are watching this, this Magnificent Mogul video today, that if you apply yourself, you can achieve. And I
Yeah.
think Clifton sort of has that same, mentality and theme running in his life. And so I'm glad that you all are here explaining how you all got started in the film industry. But I know the work is not done. So that's leading me to my next question. I know that there are some gaps that exist in the film industry when you all apply your skill. Can you sort of talk about some things that you see that's missing in Black film and what you've done to sort of try to, close the gap through your own experience?
Well, what I've done as an independent filmmaker is to try to unite people.
Okay.
Is, letting everyone know, I mean, hey, these are African American films we're doing.
Okay.
We need all participation from one another, the community,
Yeah.
anybody that want to see us do films.
Okay.
So what I like to do, and with the people that I work with, my producers and the cast and stuff, I always explain to them,
Mhm.
I don't have a lot of money up front, but I have a dream and I have a vision.
Oh, okay.
And if
good.
you believe in me and stick with me,
Yeah.
I guarantee you will oversee it. And so a lot of people have taken that and just we've brought other filmmakers to help with their projects. We
Yeah.
have now new filmmakers that want to help with my projects.
Yeah.
And it's basically unity. And that's what I'm trying to do, is unite
that's
all of us.
fantastic. That's fantastic. Speaking of launching projects and then getting them off the ground, I'm sure you want to take the opportunity to sort of explain now, what are some projects that you have going on, that's out there in the industry now and some of the things that you're currently launching?
Well, I want to share with everybody now, we have a film that's out that have just received an international distribution deal
Beautiful.
by the name of Lady Luck, which is I'm really happy and
I
I'm
saw Lady
excited
Luck, it was
about
good,
that.
yeah.
Well, great. I'm glad Miss Hall actually
Yeah.
starts in it. So
Yeah.
so obviously that particular film here, it's ready to go. But what we're doing now, we're starting up a foundation to help fund, donate the sequel to the movie by the name of Black Rose.
Black Rose. Okay.
Black Rose,
Okay.
which is a film that actually is a sequel to Lady Luck
Okay.
that we're looking forward to this fall, that we are hoping to start production.
Okay.
We have a couple of A-list celebrities that we're in negotiation with on possibly being in this film, along with Miss Hall, which she's going to bless
She's
it
gonna be
again.
returning, yeah.
Yes, she
Yeah.
will. We have to have her. But yeah, we're just moving forward with our projects and trying to keep at least a couple of them on the table at all times.
Fantastic.
Yes.
That's fantastic. So you spoke about how you try to pull people together and get them to support your projects. Can you speak specifically to maybe an instance, because people will learn from this. How did you face like a wall and then you had to tell yourself, okay, I know that this is a wall, I know this is something that I have to encounter and get over. What was the strategy you used to overcome that?
My strategy that I used was basically just being myself.
Okay.
Just being myself.
Authenticity.
And exactly. And, speaking of, I can give you an example.
Yeah.
As Miss Hall here, when my producer approached her about being in this film and her people and everything, she told me one thing that she said, and it will always stick with me.
Mhm.
I support independent films. It is not about the money.
Yeah.
It's never been about the money with me. If you are a filmmaker, you're local, you're giving other local artists here, actors and directors, producers, cameramen, whatever it may be, you're giving them opportunities to be with a production that have A-list celebrities.
Yeah.
People
Yeah.
that they would never meet, in a film, international film, without giving that opportunity. It's not given to them. You have to earn it. So you
Right.
come and audition, and if you have the raw talent, which I love raw
Yeah.
talent,
Yeah.
because some of the best talent, Ms. Hall, over your career, is raw talent. Obviously, you started yourself with raw talent.
Yeah. Yeah.
So basically, I like to give, like I say, local actors and actresses an opportunity
Okay.
in films.
But independent film, that's some of the best film that I've ever seen, quite frankly. Because a lot of things that are passing through the big box offices, you can tell they're just kind of, the industry is putting them out, and there's a machine behind.
shots.
Yeah,
exactly.
there's a machine behind it. It's just basically what the masses want to see, opposed to, what people really authentically want to see. Especially in the Black community. So I think the independent film is definitely something that I'll always stand behind. Now, Ms. Hall, I want to ask you a similar question, but in a different way, because you're in front of the camera. Clifton is typically behind the camera. What are some issues that you have faced just as a Black woman in film? Is there anything that you can discuss and tell us how you overcame that issue?
I've kind of led a blessed, charmed life.
That's good. That's good.
From the main thing I had to overcome was getting a chance to do what I wanted to do. Raymond asked me if I wanted to be an actor or a movie star because I had a lot of natural talent that should be developed. And I said, well, if God gave me a talent, I wanted to develop it, and I want to be an actress. He said, well, what do you want to do? And I said, I would like to be the face and the voice of all the faceless, voiceless, older women that have been so important in our lives, because I was very close to my grandmothers, and I had great aunts, and I had aunts, and it's like, I never had a feeling that there was anything that I could not do because I was a woman or because I was Black. But because I had all these wonderful women who were doing so many things. I had one aunt who had been an airplane mechanic during the Second World War. It was hard. But it might be hard, but you can do it.
Right.
I had been, and there were a lot of things like that.
Okay.
But I also, I was born in 1935, so I came up in what they call it, the race era, or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, I had this bag before I left the house that was representing.
Okay.
And so I had a deep love for the talents and of my people, not that they were better than any other people, but that they were not less than any other people.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think that's great.
And then God kind of helped intervene, because my first 2 years of college was spent at a predominantly white college. There were only 7 black women there.
Right.
And then my last 2 years of college was spent at a predominantly black college. We may have had 1 or 2 people from Latin America.
Okay.
So it's like all my life. And my father used to tell me all the time that their job was to prepare me to live and to be able to function well in a global society. Now, when I was a small child growing up till I was 7, I was in Texas and in Tyler a lot of the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to go, we had the movie theater. It was about the size of this room. And we'd go.
Yeah.
And I'd see all these black films.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing this guy that I knew was a singer, because my father was a professional musician.
Okay.
And he was a singing cowboy. Well, then, when I was 7, I moved to Chicago. And every once in a while, because they show double features, and they may show a little splur, a little quickie in there, and you see some black people in film.
Right.
But they disappeared. And I said, well, where?
It was real quick.
Where did black people go? You know what I'm
real
saying?
quick.
And I could never figure out why we weren't making films anymore, because I didn't know until that time that we just didn't regularly make films like everybody else did.
Right. Okay.
So then that was when I had my rude awakening that we didn't make films out in Hollywood like everybody else did.
Exactly.
And I remember watching Hattie McDaniel. I was mesmerized by her. I saw her, and because I saw Gone with the Wind when I was a little bitty girl. And I wasn't looking at her character as being a slave or whatever. I was just, she just held me.
Right.
And I thought she was wonderful. Right. And then I looked at some of the other, people I saw, but I remember her in particular.
Okay.
And then people would disappear.
Right.
And I said, well, why aren't we making any films?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know anything about Hollywood or how that happened. Why? Is nobody's making films? Now, somewhere, there used to be black filmmakers in Chicago.
Right, exactly.
But where are they? What happened?
Yeah, and that's why I asked the question, because I think the more that we have images like, yourself and Clifton out there, doing films and putting films out and being in front of the camera. And I especially like what you said, you wanted to, represent. I love that. Because that's exactly what I want people to understand, that we can do that. And by you being on screen, you were dispersing that image. So you don't know how many other people are looking at you potentially doing the same thing. And the same thing for Clifton. I'm glad that Clifton is here explaining that he is a film producer and a screenwriter. I've been fortunate enough to work with Clifton, and I know how he's such a hard worker, Clifton. And I really appreciate you for being that type of of an entrepreneur in the community. That's what this brand particularly stands for. Thank you.
But the thing that I wanted to do, and I told Raymond this, that I wanted to tell those characters' stories so profoundly that no one would ever forget them. I'm an only child.
Oh, me too.
And so I never had a hunger for attention.
Right.
I never wanted to see. I wanted to get out of the way. Leave me alone. And so when I would play, acting for me was like playing. It was like escape.
Yeah.
I could escape and be somebody else, and you leave me alone. So it wasn't that I wanted to be famous or anything like that. But I loved those women. Those those great aunts and my grandmothers and I said, wow, nobody's telling their stories. Mm-hmm. And even when you go see the other pictures, you see Jimmy Cagney, but I was looking at his mother all in the movie.
Yeah.
You know, they don't mention her.
Right. So you said, I'm going to step in.
Yeah, that's what I want to do. I want to be all these mothers and aunts and old ladies walking down the street.
Mama. Yeah, big mama.
Right. That's who I want to. I don't want people to ever forget them.
Look, you have achieved that goal. I will always see you as Big Mama. You are my other grandmother.
I get so many hugs. Yeah. I'm so blessed.
You are.
Little children used to just come up and hug my legs, and you know, people just come. They just want a hug. Some don't even want an autograph. They just want.
So much
can I have a hug?
Yeah, that's just so much love.
Yeah.
That's it. I'm gonna lighten it up with this next question. So, being that you all are in film at Clifton, you're a film producer, and I know you always have a vision in your head. And Ms. Hall, you like to play particular characters, but in your downtime, when you all are looking at movies, not including movies that you have done, what are some of your favorite movies? I want to get inside your head and see how you think.
Lord. No, I like so many
really?
movies.
What genre? What genre?
That's just it.
Really?
I like so many different genres for so many different reasons, because you have to remember that for over 30 years I was a classroom school teacher.
Okay.
And I taught foreign languages and sometimes history. So I'm interested in education.
Oh,
I like films that help us to understand the world.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
And
it's changing. It's so crazy now, right?
Yeah, because, like I said, I was raised to be to function in a global society.
Right.
So I like films that present various peoples of the world in positive light.
Right.
Well, if you're going to give me the negative, give me equal positivity.
Right.
So that I get a true picture.
Right.
So I can't. I remember there was a period of time when I loved musicals because my father was a musician. I was studying music. I loved music.
Okay.
And that's the only thing I ever wanted to be I wanted to sing or something, dance or something. So I would go to musicals. I love musicals. But other than that, no. Kids, we played whatever we saw.
I know.
We thought Tarzan was funny.
Yeah, it was.
We thought that was funny because we couldn't figure that out.
Right.
I mean, how did he come over here and know more about Africa than Africa? I mean, as children, I'm talking about back in the 30s. To show you children not dumb as you think they are.
Right.
I mean, this is back in the 30s.
Right, okay.
And we was trying to figure out, how do you know?
Tarzan that came over to
How do you know more than the people who right there live in Africa all the time? So we thought it was funny.
Right, okay.
So
it's more of a comedy to you.
It was a comedy more than anything else for us. But, as I said, we had the opportunity to see these black films, and we used to go to them, and especially, I'm sorry, names escape me sometimes. They're back there in the files.
You've done so many of them. How do you keep up with everything?
Yeah, but we liked it was a black cowboy, and he would sing.
Okay.
And we used to, we'd go to all this film. We'd come out, we'd be him.
Right.
We'd be playing cowboy, we'd be him, somebody be him, we'd be shooting guard. But for me personally, I like films that teach us something about people, that show us
like diversity and reality.
Diversity, right. And which is why I guess I enjoyed the movie Straight Outta Compton.
Oh, whoa!
Everybody teases me.
If it got your blessing, it got mine.
Well, it's because, I was raising my kids who were preteen and teenagers during the 60s, 70s.
Okay.
And I was working to on behalf of the struggle. I remember belonging to an organization called People United for Justice for Prisoners.
Okay.
And it's like I knew I was a secondary teacher, so I had high school students. And I always loved teenagers because that was crazy because I love teenagers. But I don't know, maybe I can identify with them. Maybe God stopped me at that age or something. But I knew, I said, look at that. I was so proud of them. I said, we never would have known what was going on in Compton if those boys hadn't come out and put it on.
That's it.
That's very true.
Good, children.
That's very true.
So I like films like that. I was never much of a fan of war films.
Okay.
Because I don't know if you call it ultra compassion or what, but I remember feeling during the Second World War, and I'd see war films, and I felt sorry for
Well, it's depressing.
all the little children
Yeah, it's depressing.
that their fathers were getting killed
Yeah.
in the war. And I don't care if they were the Japanese or German or American. I didn't want anybody to fight. I didn't want them to die. I didn't like that stuff. It never was, a patron. But there was one, Apocalypse Now, caught my attention because there was a lot to be learned other than war in that movie. A lot.
Okay.
And I wish that people, I think that could be a whole unit to be taught that film.
Okay. I'll have to
And
check
it
that
would
out.
help. And then by the time I saw that, my husband, he's passed now, but he was a Korean vet. And he had been a musician and artist. And we would talk and it was like the thing that soldiers have to go through to get them in the mindset to be soldiers in the first place. And then all of a sudden they're turn loose. Go back to doing what you were doing.
Yeah, that's impossible.
You know,
It's impossible.
yeah,
once you
it's
get
a
that
lot of
thing.
things like that.
Yeah.
But I think film is about our most powerful teaching tool.
It is. It is.
And
anything that anybody
right.
sees visually, I mean, you pick it up or you absorb it in some way.
Right.
Yeah.
I like working with the independent film. I asked God, I said, well, I've been in this business now almost 50 years, and I would like to spend the rest of the time I have working with independent filmmakers,
Gotcha.
and with young people trying to get their foot in the door. So I do a lot of thesis films, things like that, because it helps. At least people look at it and say, "Oh, Irma P in your film." They'll look at it.
Absolutely.
But because they're trying to tell their story. And
So Clifton, same question for you. What about you when it comes to film? What films do you particularly like?
I guess I know Miss Hall and I, we're in two different generations of films, but all films are pretty much what I'm looking for. What I really like was the film Mo Better Blues.
Oh,
Mo Better Blues. I go back to I'm a big Spike Lee fan as a director and what he stands for, and wanting to unite black actors, entrepreneurs, filmmakers together. And that's where I am. And on all the stuff that he's done, like back in school days, those were my college days, and I can relate to that. I can relate to that of Jonathan films. But one of my favorites, I'm big on sci-fi.
Oh, I love sci-fi.
Big on sci-fi, The Walking Dead, all that good stuff there. That's my type of stuff. But I'm also in the westerns. I currently have on the table right now another writer and myself. We're working on The Legend of Bass Reeves.
Which, tell us about that.
Well, actually, Bass Reeves, as we all know, he's from the Arkansas area. He was the first black sheriff appointed by Abraham Lincoln after slavery. And so it goes through the ideal to where it shows his story life to where he brought in over 3,000 criminals and only had to kill 20 of them. And so that was, back then, was an impeccable record because first thing they did, they would shoot first and ask questions later. So, but what really caught my attention was that he was so law-abiding as a sheriff to where he brought his son in for murder.
Oh, wow.
And if you go and track your son down for murder, you have to really be something, because he was the only sheriff, black man at that particular time, that would actually go and chase these outlaws, renegades, and bandits, which would go to the Indian hills and hide up in the hills where the Indians were.
Okay.
And so therefore, lawmen wouldn't go there.
Right.
Bass Reeves was the only one that would go and bring those people back to justice.
Already.
And I think that story should be told.
Oh, it should be.
So
just by you speaking it, I think that's something that's meant for the silver screen.
Absolutely, absolutely. Absolutely. And so that's what I'm working on at this particular time. So, like I say, when it comes to movies and stuff like this, I'm open to anything. Like Miss Hall was saying, I would go to Netflix on the weekends, maybe go rent 3 or 4 movies and sit back and just binge the whole day.
Gotcha.
And I get a lot of ideas. I get a lot of, similarities of some of the things that I see on what I'm doing.
Gotcha. So your mind is just, it's just absorbing things when you're looking at film, and you're just wondering,
man,
what I'm going to use next.
I'm so hungry for this business, and I'm so hungry to get on, where, it's 24/7 for me. It's
I get you.
It's 24/7.
Yeah. All creatives are like that.
Yes.
I had the thrill. I finally got a chance to work with Spike. I think I have everything he's done. Because I thought he was a kid. Well, he was a kid to me when he first started. Everything, and I was always so proud of him.
Yeah, Spike. Everything is so mental.
Yes.
Very mental.
Yes.
And I used to go and visit 2 uncles who were professional photographers. They gave me a camera when I was 4 in Bed-Stuy. So it was like, and I finally got to be in a Spike Lee film. I was so thrilled. Now I'm at peace with that.
Well, that's awesome. That's off the bucket list.
Yes.
Well, I think I'm going to wrap it up there. And again, I'm so happy to have the both of you here. Miss Hall, especially you were a delight. And I'm so glad to have met you. I mean, after seeing you on television, just to meet you, that's just, a dream come true. So thank you so much for being here. And I want you all to tell everybody how they can, Clifton, how can people find Lady Luck online and the things that you're doing? Where do they need to go?
Well, right now, since Lady Luck is in the process of being packaged to be distributed. Okay. So therefore, if you want to go see the trailer, go to Lady Luck Official Trailer. You're able to see my work, Miss Hall, in it. Also, you can contact me. I could be reached at moviebizunplug.com, or you can reach me at moviebiz30@gmail.com.
All right. And that's MovieBiz, B-I-Z-Z.
B-I-Z-Z. MovieBiz, B-I-Z-Z.
Okay.
Yes.
And then, Ms. Hall, if anybody wants to get in contact with you, they can contact your manager, Harris Davidson, correct?
Harris Davidson.
Davidson.
She's in Chicago. Too.
Okay.
Yeah, she's a Texas girl. She's in makeup.
So that's Harris Davidson. The number is 773-743-3619. And again, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having us.
Oh, not a problem.
All right.